Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast. Inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs, here is your host, Dr. Francis Arlene.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience episode number 549. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Francis Arlene. What if the same tools hedge funds have used for decades could finally be in your hands? Today, we're joined by Jamar James, founder of DCG Trader, who is forming or transforming how everyday people approach the market. He's coined the Operators Framework, teaching people not just to trade, but to run AI-powered systems that produce institutional-grade intelligence. If you've ever felt the market was not for you or been burnt out by fake gurus, this conversation will show you a new way to trade with confidence, transparency, and real results. Welcome, Jamar.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and DCG?
Okay. First of all, I am a father. I really got into trading back in 2009 from the real estate environment. I've always been an entrepreneur. I started off in the Marine Corps, and after the Marine Corps, I went to college for computer science. I got into the corporate world. It just wasn't for me. And from that point, I actually learned real estate, buying and selling, the concept of buying low and selling higher. And when the market crashed in 2009, it was the mentality of, there was a lot of inventory and not a lot of buyers. But in the stock market, there's always been buyers and sellers since the beginning of time. And I like to coin the phrase that slaves were traded and free people traded. I flipped the script and I got into trading. And I also worked for hedge funds and institutions. And I realized that, every weekend they retune their system. And a lot of the data, back in 2010, 11 wasn't available to retail people. And since then, I've paid a lot to get information, paid a lot for the education and knowledge. And I realized that it makes it inaccessible for the average person. So most people that enter in the markets, they do lose because they don't tell you that it's an emotional whipsaw and a lot of manipulation is in the market. And you have to have the data to be able to spot that. And so since 2016, I created a mastermind of people that are actually trading and sharing the lessons that we've observed in the market. And we came up with a shared experience in trading where we share the information and share the data. And, that transferred me to a full-time trader since 2016. I've been trading crypto, options, and futures. And through that experience, I realized that it was just so much that the average person don't know about trading. And in 2005 and 2025 and 26, the AI is actually allowing you to have a second brain that can process this data. And so that mission is for me to allow people to not trust others, but to actually verify and validate data and take that data into the markets. And I show them how to do that with AI now. That has kind of been the equalizer of back in the days we were told knowledge was power, but there's only a certain amount of books you can read. Right now you have technology on your fingertips and any information out there you can actually get. So the world is an open book test right now, but some people don't know what the questions to ask. And that is in the trading space, the questions you ask determine the quality of your life and your profits.
What is something we don't know about the trading industry that we should know?
Basically, people in power, they all work together, right? The government trades that a lot of people, I don't think they realize how much the government invests in the market. The 401k, over the last 20 years, the market has been up 80% of the time. It is a trend that I think most people don't realize that the market goes up 80% of the time, but the temporary spikes get all the negative news, the negative press. They talk about your 401ks and the financial investors and analysts and advisors. They're there to secure money for the firms to invest your money in the market. They tell you to hold. So most financial advisors, in my opinion, are there to secure capital for the firm so they can actually trade both ways. Whereas the regular individual, they're just told to hold and sit in the market. And so if you moves a year of managing your own funds, you're capable of making the right moves more than a financial advisor because only one that you're concerned with is yourself. Whereas financial advisor has thousands of clients. So, the empowerment is something that's been kept away from the individual. Technology and finances has historically been outsourced, right? You told that, hey, hire an expert, trust someone else, they have a license. Why don't more people employ that, hey, I can empower myself and I'll learn and I'll be able to I'll be able to care more for myself than anyone else will.
Speaking of artificial intelligence, and you're using an artificial intelligence platform, talk to us specifically how you're using it and what advice would you give someone using it? Because, like you said, the prompting is
Right.
what's important. And also regarding, and the other question around that is there an AI platform that you specifically would recommend and why?
Yeah. So how I use AI is that there's thousands of data points come in daily. I actually ask the simple questions. What is the 90% probability or 95% probability of trades going higher or lower today? And which are the top five trades that are out there? I mean, I exit current events based on the last 60 minutes. In the last hour, what is the strongest trade in the market? And so I can do that 8 times in a day automatically, and they can confirm to me what is a trade that has the volume, has the strongest sentiment, has a strong catalyst, and I trade momentum. So I'm using it to actually calculate high probability trades and share with me the catalyst. So I don't have to actually search through news and articles and information. And then I'm using Claude. I use Claude because it has a terminal and also it has the capability, Claude and Grok has the capability to get sentiment from things like Twitter, social media. So I can actually see where sentiment is high and also where the volume and it's pulling real time data. That is one of the keys that I share with people is that you have access to the information that's in real time. There's no lag indicators, and you have the strongest sentiment out there. So there's a new thing called AI sentiment trading, because if I'm using AI, another person is using AI, another 1,000 people are using AI, it creates that sentiment. And so AI is telling all these different AI machines is telling you to buy this stock, right? You'll see the sentiment goes up and more people buy it because more people are using AI. So they create the market. People using AI is actually creating the market, and AI is actually confirming with the algorithm and what people are thinking.
Now, Jamar, would you actually recommend, or what is your recommendation for someone who is not trading? Are you suggesting that they use AI? Because I'm looking at how people are manipulating the market, even in
Right.
terms of when you think about Jamie Dimon
Right.
and how he manipulated the market in terms of telling people not to do crypto, and then he went and
Right.
purchase all of this crypto. And even with the young little whippersnappers who manipulated the market before in terms of crypto and actually having almost like the market crash. What is your advice around that?
My advice is to understand the opportunities. Buying low, selling high, there's always buyers and sellers, and understanding where the money is influencing. So you can listen to the news and media. A lot of those guys are there to sell newspapers and sell media and get your attention. But I always follow the money. And so you see where money is influencing or outflowing. And that is something that you can use AI to determine, hey, what money is inflowing into the market today and which money is flowing out. And you can see in real time when, because everything like for instance, crypto, everything is on the blockchain. So there's information that every transaction is measured. Every buy and sell is measured on the stock market. You just need a tool that calculates that and lets you know that, hey, money is coming out of this market and it's going into this market. And so I track the inflow and outflow of money. And that is what I teach is follow the money.
And you talked about your mastermind around trading. Who is your ideal client around that mastermind?
A person that has experience in trading, that they've lost or they haven't had the time, they had a strategy that may not have produced, they listened to tips in the past, and they want to actually learn for themselves. And normally they are self-employed or the person in charge of their financing that has a strong responsibility, change their family's direction or maintain it. And so they really actually want to understand how to manage their own funds and how to make their own trades. And a lot of them don't trust other people with their money. So they are want to manage their own. Those are my ideal candidates because that's something I believe in is freedom. And you should have the freedom to manage your own money at all times.
And if they're interested in connecting to find out if that's a good mastermind for them, how would they connect?
They can go to dcgtrader.com or dcgchallenge.com, and it's a 5-day challenge where they can actually watch me trade live every morning and ask me questions and see me make money in the markets and see how I use AI. Of course, they can find me anywhere. I use my real name, jamarjames.com, jamarjames.io is everywhere on social media, exactly myself. And anyone that calls me, I hop on a Zoom and I do a face to face. There's something about being real and authentic that to me is just old school and respectful.
Jamar, there's a lot of risk and rewards in entrepreneurship as well as in investing. Why don't you tell us one of your success stories?
I have a ton of success stories as far as working with people. For me, I mean, my personal success story was I transitioned from owning a business, IT consulting, owning real estate companies to trading full time since 2010. And so my biggest success is that my kids, 18 and 10, have never seen me go into a day job. They've seen me trade consistently over the last 15 years. As far as success that I've had during COVID, I had a lot of teachers that were put off of work, nurses that didn't want to be exposed, and they became full-time traders over the summer. That was, to me, one of my biggest success stories is I have long-term retention. Most people that enter my environment, they've been there for 5 to 6 years. We have about an 85% retention rate for traders that are currently trading. They come in a mastermind, they stay for long periods of time. New people come in, they feel a little bit intimidated that, there's 120 people that have been in a mastermind for about 4 or 5 years. But it just shows the effectiveness of that environment.
And let's switch gears around the risk or the opportunity. And
Right.
let's talk about the worst moment in trading and
Right.
what was your takeaway?
So there's huge risk in trading, extremely. I mean, the reason why so many people lose is emotions, is making decisions. The worst decisions is investing in platforms that have control of your money and they shut down and not regulated in the United States. So the crypto platforms that are unregulated, Forex platforms that are unregulated, a lot of times they shut down and people lose their money without even trading. The second is getting scammed by guys clicking on links, having crypto on your desktop, or having your account being hacked. For me, one of my biggest losses came with being overconfident, not buying enough time in a trade, taking an option trade with some like 40 grand and kind of buying weekly contracts. I learned, early that you always want to give yourself enough time in the market. Even for a person that comes in, I think the biggest obstacle is giving them enough time to learn. Don't go into a financial market without getting the education. Take the time to get educated before you risk your money. People ask me how much money do they need? You don't need a lot of money, whether it's $10 or $1,000. The process is the same. So you want to minimize your risk and you want to actually learn what you're doing before you actually take the plunge with real money because the losses are real. Everyone loses, right? There's no 100% trader, and that is just being real. So I count for after every 7 trades, I'll count for one being a loss. That is kind of like, if I take 7 trades, I know that, hey, a loss is coming. So that keeps my risk management intact. So it's having the right expectation in the market. And I say the biggest lesson is manage your expectations.
And you talked about since 2010 not going to an office or punching in, and you've been trading for that time. How did you fund your venture to trade?
I was actually flipping houses in real estate. So I already had money. I'm not going to say that I started from a small amount. When I got into trading, my first trade was, I took 100,000 and I think I put it into Facebook. And this is, I was used to flipping houses and buying houses for five, 600,000, 300,000, and doing an $80,000 rehab. So for me, I got into swing trading, which I was putting in money in the market for 3 to 6 months at a time. So it wasn't I didn't have expectations on being a day trader, making money tomorrow. Mine was always a month or 2 months out, 3 months out. And I think, that experience, when you do turn money, you flip money that fast, you keep wanting to do it faster and faster and faster. And that's how people get into day trading. But overnight swings and monthly swings is the best opportunity. But then I also did lose money trying to day trade for the year after that. I lost about 50 grand, 25,000 at a time by trying to expedite the learning curve and trading faster and faster, which the emotional toll of day trading, I wasn't aware of the mental that it takes away from a person. Those are lessons you learn by being overconfident. Sometime in the market, if you invest in solid companies, over a period of time, they will produce. But I think the expectations of if I buy today and sell tomorrow, will I be up? And I think that is what's sold to people is that you can make money real fast without knowing a lot. Sometimes you need to know a lot before you can make money fast.
I like that. Jamar, I want you to have a monologue and I want you to name this person, living or not, and they've inspired you so much. Who is that person and what are you saying to that person?
I had a person named Dave Keller that came in my life in 2008, and he had had a stroke. And one side of his face was immobile, couldn't move it. And it was like lessons, I hired him as a business coach. And some of the valuable lessons that, I received is that time is short and you can live your perfect life now. And that should be the goal is how do I design the life that I want to live over and over again? That was a turning point. I had a business in 2008. I had 3 offices. I was in Arizona. And after going through this exercise called my perfect day, it's like, what day would you want to live over and over and over again? And you would be forced to live this day for the rest of your life. And so one of the things, you wrote down the day you wake up to the day you go to sleep. I mean, the night, every second had to be accounted for. And one of the things I mentioned is, I would want to be by the beach. I would want to ride my motorcycle. I would want to play racquetball. I would want to spend time with my kids. I would want to help them with their homework. I want to eat with my family, right? I wanted to have control of my time. And at that point, after I did that exercise after a week, it was like, hey, you should pack up and move. You should sell all your business. You should go to California. And, that basically changed my life because within a month, I had packed up. I sold my real estate companies. I sold my houses and I moved by the beach and I've been living there ever since. And
I
so
love
that
that.
was right. And then my kids never seen me work. I never had to sacrifice, but then I also had to focus on, making income from home, which trading, it was do or die. There was no other option. It was like, hey, I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to be disciplined and I'm going to do this from home. And I haven't been to work since.
And does Dave Keller know how much he impacted your life?
Yeah. So I begged him to mentor me. He wouldn't mentor me. It's like it was no amount of money that I could give him that he would work with me. And so we came up with a deal that the year that he mentored me, I had to give him 50% of everything I made because he said that I'm taking up 50% of his time. That's 50% of his life. It was kind of a lesson in people that are empowered, they don't have to help you, right? Their life is already comfortable, so they give up their time. It is an investment. And basically, what are you willing to give up to change your life, right? Will you give up half of what you have right now? Would you give up the discipline and the freedom that's required? You know, and at that point, when I said yes, he really invested in me, and there was other lessons he taught. I mean, he knows how much he's impacted my life because I still use him for the day. And it
I
was
appreciate that. Yeah.
yeah. So when people say how much does it cost, right? Sometimes you never understand how much you lose by not taking the chance.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. How much does it cost? Yeah. I gotta write that down. And I want you to name a brand or a business that's dominating that you admire and why.
I actually admire Elon Musk. He's free in his thinking, free in his business, and he's willing to do it himself. He has belief that others may have doubt, but his ambition isn't just monetary. I think it's worldwide, and so I think having big visions and taking action on them is one of the things I respect about Elon Musk and his brand, Tesla, SpaceX. I mean, to think about, hey, I want to have driverless cars. I want to have spaceships. I want to be able to fly people and establish things in the moon. Right? Those are not things that the average person aspires to do and has the guts to say, hey, this is what we're going to do and move forward and get other people to believe in your vision, right? I think we need more humans that have that, belief. Like I believe that everyone can be free, everyone can make money in the market. You don't have to go into work. I believe you can live a completely happy life and you don't have to struggle. And so that's something that I was taught that, hey, you have to work hard. You have to maybe get two or three jobs. You have to make sacrifices. And I was taught that, but no one never told me that, hey, life could be easy. You can make money from home. You can be done in an hour. You never really have to struggle. You can spend all the time with your kids. You can live at home. So, those visions also need to be shared because it's been true for me.
Jamar, what was that aha moment that you knew that your trading would be successful for you?
It was more of I had a belief in myself when I decided that, hey, I was going to sell everything and I was going to make this work. It was no aha moment. It was like, I can't fail. And it was a fear of failure of that. I have to make this work. This is going to give me the life that I want. And so I got to be willing to do whatever it takes to get it. My first trade was actually a really good trade. So after I seen it, I couldn't unsee it. Once you make $1,000 or $10,000, it can be done again, right? So I didn't believe it was luck, but I just believe that other people knew something I didn't know, and I needed to get that answer, and I wasn't going to stop until I got it. So I don't think it's an aha moment. I think it's more of I can't quit. You will never lose if you don't quit, and I think that is the big thing. Most people quit on themselves. They lower their goals, they lower their ambition, they lower their vision, right? So it can be attainable. But if you don't quit subconsciously, I think humans will figure it out.
And what do you see as your zone of genius?
Zone of genius is strategic planning. I like to have a plan and I like to have a goal. And so I break those goals down to smaller and I have belief. I believe that everybody can be helped and you can figure it out. So I think that is the genius is that I know it's an answer. And it is that belief of knowing it's the answer will get you closer to your genius. There is an answer.
And what is the best decision you've made as a leader?
The best decision I made as a leader is to always adapt, right? Don't get stuck in your ways, evolve. And listen, and when you see that there's something better or a better way, always keep an open mind to advance. Don't allow your ego or your pride to stop you from making adjustments to get ahead. So as a leader, I'm willing to evolve. I'm willing to say, hey, I'm wrong. I'm willing to reverse and go the right way.
Let's talk about legacy. When it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as a person that cared. Anyone that's in my circle, I care for it. I care for my family. I care for my wife and my kids. I care for the members that's around me. I care about society. I think my legacy he really did care and it was authentic.
Okay. What do you need right now that you don't have to move the needle forward?
I think you need more like-minded people. I don't think we are supposed to grow in isolation. So for me, I'm always looking for people with big vision because there's only so much you can carry and also the time. It always feels like we don't have enough time to accomplish all the things we want. So your movement and the people around you are able to carry some of it. God bless you.
Thank you. If you lost everything and you had to rebuild in 30 days, what market and industry and why?
If I lost anything, I know money and also teams. Hopping on a team of a person who's already making money that's in the financial markets, money is always circulating. The one thing that wealthy people value is their time. And if you can help them save time, you'll always be more valuable. So, definitely in the financial markets, understanding the value of time and how you can expedite things, that would be the area I would go. And so I think people pay for speed. So the same thing in the trading markets. I think I offer people a faster way to make money in the markets without having to learn and take 2, 3, 4 years to figure it out. I think speed is helpful for people that already have money.
What is the best advice you wish you had followed?
The best advice I wish I had followed was invest young and do what you can to keep it. A lot of times I got flustered and I sold things just because I didn't want the responsibility of having them. And I had over 20 houses and a lot of them I sold, just out of, man, it's overwhelming, all these different bills, let the pressure. But that's part of growth. At every level, you're going to have a different challenge. So even when you're making money, the challenges don't go away. It just gets a different level. That's the one thing that, if I can tell my younger self, is that at every level that you elevate to, there's going to be a different challenge. And, you're not going to be able to have a trouble-free life.
Jamar, what is the takeaway for the audience that's listening? What do you want them to leave with? Is there an
Um,
action item or something you want them to do?
it's just empowerment. The things that you really want in life, and when you're offered a opportunity to get them, right? Don't shrink to the occasions. Rise to the occasion and have the life that you want when you're offered the opportunity to make changes to it. Don't let comfort keep you so comfortable where you're scared to move forward. And so I think comfort is the thief of greatness, right? You can live a normal life and be comfortable, or you can have an extraordinary life with a little bit of uncomfort, initially.
What problem exists in the world today that you'd like to solve?
Hopelessness. I ran into so many people that think that other people are special and had a special gift, and they don't actually find their own gift, and they don't realize that they're special as well because they've only think it's for other people. And so I come from an environment where there's not a lot of people that make it out, and that's because I think they lose hope and they stop dreaming and they believe like this is just life, and they ignore their dreams. I seen Uber drivers and people, when I hop in a taxi, I was like, hey, what is your goal? What is your dream? And they always say, I'm just trying to make it, right? I'm just trying to get to next week, right? They've actually taken away that they don't have a big dream anymore. They just want their family to be healthy and they want food. And so that takes away from big dreams and big goals and big accomplishments. Like I say, Elon Musk says, hey, I want to fly to space, right? Kids nowadays and young adults, you don't see them saying that, hey, I want to be a president, or, I want to own this big corporation. A lot of the people nowadays are just saying, hey, I just want to survive. I want to pay my bills. I don't want no problems. I want to solve that problem of you still can dream. You can have it your way. You can live at the beach. You can overlook. You can have a great life, right? Where you don't have to settle for just existing.
Let's take a snapshot of the last 30 days. And what was your biggest win for the company?
My biggest win for the company is I've had, for the last 3 weeks, I've had different women be on our wall of our weekly wall, meaning that these women they have kids. They've all made over 5,000 in a week, and they've been consistent for the last 3 weeks of just making 5,000 or more in the market for 3 consecutive weeks. That's been a big win, and they've all been women. To me, that's a lot of times guys take a lot of chances, but the women traders in our environment, they've been more consistent and they're following the rules, and their results show that they're more disciplined and they're more consistent without taking big chances, just consistent wins. And so that's something that we've as a mastermind have gotten together and says, what's the difference between women and men traders? The women have the same responsibility, but they take less chances and they're more consistent.
I like that. Why do you do what you do?
For one, I think I do it for myself. It actually makes me feel good, right? Trading. When I was in real estate, I made a lot of money, and I was taking care of other families. And when the market crashed, right, I felt like I was on my own. Today, I realize I have a gift to help other people, but now they're all partners. They're not just getting a check. They have something in the market. They're risking their own money, and so I feel responsible and also accountable that if I show up every day, they'll show up every day, and we all win together. One, having people in my trading environment, it helps me stay accountable. It helps me show up in my best form. It actually, I know that someone's listening and someone's watching. So that actually keeps me disciplined and it keeps me with good principles. And that's one of the reasons I show up. But then also, it actually feels good to help other people and see them win.
And what made you start the mastermind? And how long ago did you start the last
Uh,
mastermind?
well, I started a mastermind because people knew that I had success in real estate, I had success in trading, and there was people on social media that were getting into crypto schemes and scams. And one of my friends was like, man, you should help them like and teach them how to really trade. They're trusting other people with their money. And on the weekend, I just posted on Facebook like, "Hey, I'm gonna have a master class on Monday. If anybody really want to know how to trade, I'm going to teach a class on Monday." I never envisioned on being, a teacher or teaching a class. But I had 120 people sign up, and I charged like $99. It was 120 people that signed up over the weekend that they all wanted to learn how to trade, and they knew that that was my first class. And so then they were like, after that first class, they were, "Oh man, this is great. Are you gonna have another one?" I was like, "Nah, just I didn't plan to have another class." And then it was like, I was like, "Well, I don't want to be a teacher." Everybody's calling me teacher and coach. I was like, "Well, let's create a mastermind, and the people that really want to know and are already trading, we can share." And that was the creation of the DCG Mastermind, and it's just evolved since then. And this is what I've been doing since 2016 as far as I was trading on my own in 2010. 2016, I offered a class, and then I got people into crypto. And then 2017 hit, and everybody thought I was a genius. And it was like, well, it was just good timing. Because then the next year, 2018, 19, the market totally crashed in crypto. And I was like, hey, you also needed to learn something else. You can't just depend on crypto. You need to learn how to really trade all markets. And then that's how the mastermind evolved. And so now in the mastermind, we have traders that trade crypto, we have trade futures, options, but these are all guys that aspire to be full-time traders or investors that want to manage their own money.
Jamar, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
The one question I would have asked and answered as well is, how do we see the market evolving with all this technology? And how do I see AI impacting the world? And for me to answer that, right now, I think AI is very disruptive. Technology changes every 3 months, every 6 months, there's a new technology. And I think the evolution is that we can't even imagine how far we're going to be in 4 years. And you need to embrace it now because I also think that the people that embrace it now will have an edge, especially in the financial markets, because the entire trading space is changing. 70 years ago, there wasn't computers in the stock market. There were guys on the stock market floor with pieces of paper. And now we've had computers for 70 years. And I think the next 70 years, we won't need candlesticks and charts, but you'll have data and you'll be able to make financial moves based on the amount of data that you have. I think this is a equal playing ground. Like COVID was a time in history that the world slowed down enough for everybody to catch up. I think right now, the time with AI is a place where it's speeding up so much that people are going to be left behind, the people that don't embrace it.
Right. And one of the things, just when speaking of AI, I did a course and they were talking about that just the magnitude of how fast AI is going, and they're actually training on AI. And they were saying the information that we teach you today, that it would be obsolete tomorrow. That's just how fast things are changing. And
Right.
I want people regarding AI to just really do your due diligence because it is just massive information being dumped and
Right.
really to understand how to research what's true and what's not true. Yeah, just not going in it blindsided. That and the prompts is so important. And you said that at the beginning, the questions that you ask and how great your questions are is going
Right.
to depend on how much information you get. But the
Right.
information is just not at face value.
Right. It's not. And so you have to have a foundation of learning. And that's why, it's like right now, even math, right? School is changing. They're not doing the math that we did with multiplication. They want guys to be able to figure out and problem solve our elementary kids. They're not teaching math like we were taught math. And AI is also in the internet, right? It's misinformation as much as it is information. So now you have to be determined what's real information and what's distraction information. I call it distraction information because you can go down a rabbit hole and you can be searching on social media, internet, and AI for days with nothing valuable out of it. Now your intention becomes even more important. And that's why I say the quality of questions determine the quality of life. And a lot of people are using the internet, social media, and AI for such simple things that they're being left behind. And I think you need to get in an environment where people are advancing so you can actually see the advancement in the space. So you won't be stuck on AOL internet when everybody else is on Gmail. Though it becomes obsolete. And
Yes.
so I think that is the speed that you see technology moving, is that some information, some people are just using information, the internet right now to browse, while other people were building businesses, right? Some people are using AI now to do whole recipes and using it as a Google, and other people are using it to make money in market trade. It's a big wealth gap, and it depends on what circle you get in.
Absolutely. We've come to the part of our interview. It's called a rapid round of fun. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are
Okay.
you ready for the rapid round of fun?
Yes, I am.
Your first job,
Marine world and being a Marine.
your favorite singer or rapper,
Singer Bob Marley and favorite rapper Tupac.
you relax doing what,
Riding a Harley.
your favorite dance song,
I don't really dance, so don't worry, be happy.
what is your favorite comfort food,
Maybe tacos and a margarita on the beach.
and what food you eat every week, no matter what.
What food? Maybe protein shakes and bananas.
And your favorite color,
My favorite color is blue.
work out or hit the couch.
Workout. Workout.
Jamar James, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you, to do business with you, and feel free to leave all your social media handles.
All right. Thank you very much. They can find me at jamarjames.io. And also my website is DCG Trader, DCG Trader, TRADER.com. And you can find me on all of the platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Jamar James. You will see my name and you will see my face.
Thank you, Jamar. That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.